And welcome back to the Heart of Chaos. I'm Javier once again, and welcome back to The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. In the last episode, we explored a little tiny bit of Skyloft and made our way down here to the plaza to confront Groose, who has something to do with the fact that our bird is missing. So, without further ado, why don't we go ahead and attack him? So, we have to go find our bird, Well, I suppose we can go explore a bit more of Skyloft while we do that. And while we do, I kind of want to discuss one thing that is on my mind at the beginning of this series as to why I chose Skyward Sword to start out with. Skyward Sword resides at the beginning of the Legend of Zelda official timeline. It starts with Skyward Sword moving down towards the various other games. We'll get into that later on. Most people assume Ocarina of Time, longest time, was the beginning, but it actually was not. So, another reason I really love Skyward Sword in general is its sense of depth and character development that's clearly apparent throughout the entire game. We'll get more into that as we go forward. The other thing I want to mention is that it has a very significant part in my life. it was there for me right around the time where I consider my life turned around for the best. Oh, here's Piper. There's Piper, right? That boy really gets me steamed. It's nearly time for dinner and he's nowhere to be seen. He'd better not be chasing bugs again. Oh, she's angry, but she's always cooking. Anyway, it's about the time Skyward Sword came out back in 2011, 2 years ago from this day, or a few days, about a month and 2 years ago, is when I could really consider my relationship with a girl I love to death now, really turned around, and I knew that there was something meaningful with this girl I had started a relationship with only a few months before. It felt like a bit of a rush, but it's just around this time when Nintendo was teasing the relationship between Link and Zelda ever more, it was more just, I guess it just hit me right and told me everything was going to be okay. And I guess that's a sappy reason, but it's one of the reasons why I considered Skyward Sword to be my favorite Zelda title. But now, 2 years later, while it still holds sentimental value, so does every single Zelda game, and I think we'll get more into that as we go forward. However, we were told to come back here to the sparring hall to find, well, Pippet, who has a text bubble. Again, relevant conversations. And Fledge. Huh. 2 big characters. Link, perfect timing. I heard your Loftwing has gone missing, so I thought I'd join in the search. And get this, when I asked Fledge what he knew, he started acting weird. I'm so sorry, Link. I really wanted to tell you, but if Groose found out I had told you, it sounds like Groose forced him to keep quiet about it. Go on, tell him the truth. My God, you're pompous. Just a little while ago, when I was cleaning the dining hall, Groose and his buddies came in. They didn't notice I was there and started talking about their plan to hide your Loftwing. I wanted to warn you, Link, but just as I tried to sneak away, Groose and his gang grabbed me. They said that if I told you, they'd make sure I would never be able to ride a bird ever again. It sounds like Groose and his buddies had a plan to capture your bird and hide him near a waterfall. Where in that sentence did you find waterfall? Well, near waterfall would mean... Okay, quick! Let's take a look at your map. In red text. That's it, right there. I think it means the waterfall marked with an X. Well, the only waterfall in Skyloft. Thank you, Pippet. You know how to read a map, right? Press plus at any time to see a map of the area. Using a map can be quite useful. Later on, we'll be able to find a way to navigate outside around a map very easily. Maps are obviously a staple in the series since the very beginning of the franchise back in 1987. Alright, so we can now, you see it beeping, you open your map, you can obviously move around with the Wii Motion, plus it's not the sensor bar. The sensor bar is key, but you really don't use the pointer. Instead, it focuses on where your Wii Remote is twisted and turned, and it loses signal rather easily, one of the downsides to this game. Now, the waterfall is quite dangerous. If we go there, we're just going to be stopped and unable to move forward. But if we go in here, the sparring hall, you'll see that there are a bunch of logs here, clearly indicating different patterns. What we want to do is talk to him. This is our instructor. Hey, it's Link, so you still want to get in some sword practice even though today is the wing ceremony? I'm impressed. The sword is in the back room. Go on back and get it. I'll be here for a while, so okay. So he's going to tell us to get the sword, and normally you could just steal the sword and leave and not worry too much about it, but I'm going to show off a little bit more about it. Anyway, we're going to open this up and get an iconic jingle. You got a practice sword! Students at the Knight Academy practice with these. It looks like it's a fairly sharp blade. Press 1 at any time to look at the items you're carrying. Your equipment screen, basically. Now, you could very easily just walk to the exit over there and leave. He would lecture you a little bit when you tried to do that. However, I think I want to show off what I was talking about with motion control. So you go ahead and flick the Wii Remote, you'll take out the sword. You can see that the sword is moving around at well, my will. It follows the Wii Motion Plus accessory on the Wiimote fairly well. It loses signal a lot, but it's usually fairly responsive, and as long as you're at the adequate distance, which some people don't understand, the Wii Motion Plus has a tendency to auto-calibrate itself quite often. Now, in terms of combat, these logs over here, as you can see, we can move our Wiimote in the specific direction, sorry, I'm a little out of it, and swing. You'll be able to follow the different sword slashes. Now, this is obviously going to be more difficult when it comes to actual targets, so you won't really necessarily have stationary targets the entire time that'll always bend to your will, but it's a neat little thing nonetheless. Anyway, after you cut all these logs, he's going to tell you that there is more to learn that besides these logs. You really are a strong swordsman, easy to teach too. What he's going to teach you right now is the spin attack. How to do this is to move both the nunchuck and the remote in one specific direction, left, right, up, or down. Yep, up or down, but we'll talk about that in a minute. He's going to teach you how to do it horizontally, the iconic way. Okay, so we move this sideways, and let them both go, and you'll do a spin attack. Next, he's going to teach us about the fatal blow. What this is if you knock an enemy down and they are not dead at this point in time, you can swing the Wii Remote and nunchuck down while locked onto the specific target, like this. You will jump on them. This technique was introduced in Twilight Princess and upgraded in the Skyward Sword. A fatal blow is also an effective move to use right after you've used a shield or a well-placed spin attack to knock an enemy on its back. Now realize monsters that have health will obviously get back up after time. Some enemies are faster than others. Now what I was talking about before when I mentioned that not just horizontal with a spin attack, if you hold them both upwards and spin them both down, you can do actually front flips and back flips with the blade. Just a little bit more damage in different ways to help you with the motion controls aspect. Anyway, we're going to try and leave now. You can't take swords outside of the sparring hall. What do you think you're doing sneaking out with that? Sneaking out? You could see me the entire time. What? Your loft wing is missing. You want to go look for it? Well, I guess I could make an exception just this once, but remember that Skyloft is a peaceful place. Only knights can carry swords. So I don't want to see you swinging it around like crazy out there. I don't want to get in a ton of trouble over this, so here's the deal. Make sure you get plenty of practice on the logs first, and once you get it outside with that sword, only use it when you absolutely have to. Got it? Now, one thing I want to do is get the intro out of the way fairly quickly. So I do believe this is the episode that I want to drag on a bit. If it goes above the limit, fine. I don't know how long this episode's going to be and how long it'll take me to explain what I want to explain while continuing the plots. Case in point. This interruption is similar in style to the Gossip Stones known throughout the Zelda franchise. However, this was introduced in Ocarina of Time 3D and is called the Sheikah Stone. What it does is if you talk to it, it'll ask you specific areas and will give you hints as to what you're to do next related to a specific task. It can actually be quite helpful for certain side quests, and maybe if you're stuck on a dungeon or, well, you could leave the dungeon and come here and learn what you need to do. However, that takes out a lot of the fun, but if you really are stuck and cannot figure it out, the Sheikah Stone can always lead you in the correct direction. At any rate, it's time we moved forward, down these steps and towards the waterfall. We're not going to be exploring many houses at this point in time because I just want to get the main plot out of the way. I want to be able to have the full ability to explore all of Skyloft before we continue to explore the little bits and tiny pieces, because I feel, while I've introduced the concept of exploring, there's not much you can really do with that if you don't have the ability to see all of it. A little redundant, I know, but hey, this is Kukael, one of my little favorite characters. Hi, Link, this house belongs to Kukael. But psst, by the way, that's me! I'm gonna go play with my special friend today. It's gonna be so much fun! Well, you can have fun with that, Kukael. You can certainly have fun with that. Anyway, what we want to do is head back this way. Be careful, if you fall off of these stones, you will have to go back over there and make the jump again. It's not difficult, but you can always have a little slip up every now and then. One thing, if you fall off the ledges here, as I will now demonstrate, whee! You'll be dropped off somewhere nearby from a knight of the academy who's flying on their bird. Watch your step there. You can't always depend on knights like me to swoop in and save you. Actually, I can. No matter how many times you fall off of Skyloft, you will always be saved by a knight. In most cases, however, if you're not in Skyloft, that will not happen. So, just a bit of forewarning there. Anyway, we make our way over here. There's another tree. Roll into it. Blue rupees. The primary thing that's going to fall out of most trees is going to be a blue rupee. So I would just be forewarned there. Well then, it looks like there's our Skyloft. Our loft wing is inside of there. But there's a sign here. Kind of want to know what the sign says. Waterfall Cave. Beware of blood-sucking monsters. No kids allowed. Well, good thing, because I'm an adult! Oh, the sign didn't break. How do I get the last... Oh, come on! There we go. Wow, I massacred that sign. Just goes to show how the motion controls are actually quite responsive in the game. So a detail I do really love. I'm a huge fan of small details and an expanded universe, so in general, this game did a lot for me. Alright, so this cave, you're going to get introduced to monsters. This is a Keese. Later on, I'll be able to show you a unique, not a unique feature to this game by any means, but there is a bit of uniqueness to the feature that was only in Skyward Sword, and I hope they continue on later. Alright, we haven't found a green rupee. Green rupees are worth one in total currency, so that's what that's for. Alright. Now, a fun thing, you might have noticed that my sword went a bit to the right here, and I flicked my Wii remote up and down a little bit. That's an easy way to get the sensor to realize that it needs to calibrate. Oh shoot, slime. Alright, so those are the enemies you're really going to find in this place. Slime's in Keese, so you don't really have to worry too much about dying in here. Even on hero mode, this place is fairly simple and fairly easy to succeed in. Alright, so we made it over here. This is not the standard way, but if you jump down, there is a small treasure chest over here. Open it, inside of it, you'll get 20 rupees. It's worth a massive 20 rupees. You feel so happy. So you're getting a theme here. They're going to teach you a few different secrets that you'll want to keep an eye out for while you're out exploring in the real world later on. A unique thing over here, there's a bug over here that we're going to want to come back and get whenever we have the ability to. I don't think it's unique to this cave. I'm fairly certain it's not unique to this cave, but it is the first place that I noticed it a while back. We will have the ability to catch bugs on our own later, but for now we do not. Anyway, go down here. You can see that this slope is a bit too steep to go up there, to go up on our own. Making use of the sprint feature is going to be key throughout your adventure, and so just be forewarned that it's going to be a thing. Stupid Keese. You know this sword sucks when it takes 2 hits to kill a Keese. 2! Slime. At least the slimes go by pretty quickly. Alright, so over here you can see that there is a set of vines over here. Ivy, whatever it is. Go ahead and climb it, and there's going to be another chest with 20 rupees. My god, I wish I could speak. Alright, so we're going to do a jump down and kill the Keese. How did the jump attack not kill the Keese? That is a little pathetic. Oh, slimes. Slimes. By the way, one thing I'm going to mention now, it's a bit of a spoiler to the system that I was mentioning earlier that's a bit unique. Doing well in combat against enemies, I don't think nets you a reward, but a bit of satisfaction for later. And you can always, and later on we'll be able to keep track of how well we're doing against enemies, perhaps if we need to improve. I do not believe, again, that it gives you anything, but you're going to want to worry about that. Oh, hey, I have an alarm. Sorry about that. I have an alarm system that I forgot I set up for this time. Yeah, it's not even relevant anymore. I probably should get rid of the alarm. Anyway, we're going to go up here. The last thing we're going to want to explore is in here. And there's another set of 2 red rupees, so you get a total of 40 in that hole. And those are the different types of things you can explore on your own. Anyway, we're going to go inside of... out.